Hello, everybody. Welcome. We got Gareth on.
Hello.
Gareth, what kind of auto you have today?
Yeah, still my destination unknown hiking adventure auto, I guess you would call it.
That's awesome. So we are back for the second twist of our Destination Unknown writing challenge. I'm glad to see so many people on talking about your books already. You got the first twist incorporated, got gears working. You guys have had some great questions. We're going to do a quick run through, I think, right, Gareth, of our rules and everything for people who are just now tuning in today for the first time.
We will. It's always worth ramping back up to speed.
So, as far as the parts go, we came and did the kickoff on week 1. Last week, we introduced the first twist. Today, in yellow, we are introducing another twist. And then next week, we will give you the last line of your story. If you are watching on YouTube, you can go to the description box down below and click any of those other videos to get caught up. And also, while you're there, give the video a like and subscribe so you don't miss out on our challenge news. But Gareth, I'm going to let you take it away just for the refreshers.
Yeah, so if everybody can see on screen there, what are we on right now? I don't know which one's live and which one's. I've got two windows, and it's like which one's live, which one
The
is us, and which
challenge
one's the
goals.
stream.
We're writing a new short story.
So challenge goals. Yeah, I'll stay on the right live window. Destination unknown. It's all about writing a new short story. That's the personal challenge. Don't wait. We give you stuff. We're going to twist and turn as we go, as everybody already knows. So we're entering into the second twist today, but we do encourage you not to sit until the last minute, until you have all the rules, because the last thing that arrives in your hands is the final line with which your story must finish. And we don't really want you to just sit and collate all that and then start writing a story with those goals, because the whole theme, the whole point is to help you learn to, that famous phrase from, is it Bear Grylls in the meme, improvise, adapt, overcome. It doesn't mean drinking your own urine or anything like that, but learning how to think on your feet when you're writing. If you're somebody who isn't much of a planner, you probably do this all the time, but it's practice at helping to get even better than that. At that, practice makes perfect in figuring out how to fix a story, or what to do, and not get overwhelmed and stop, because I think so many of us actually do that. Maybe get halfway through a story, just think this isn't working, it's not going the way I want. What was the thing I said last week? These characters aren't doing what I want them to do, and that is just destroying my whole story. And the next thing you know, you get so frustrated that it's like, just hit the coffee or whatever and throw it in the proverbial trunk and forget about it. And we don't want that to happen. You've got a cool idea, finish it, get it done, and of course, have fun doing it. That's the point of the whole month for the challenge. We're all here to have fun. There's no catch, no crazy corporate twists or anything like that to snag you up. It's free. It's about having fun and getting something written, because ultimately we want you in the end to go forward and sell that story. We will have a finale in a couple of weeks where we take a look and judge the stories and come up with a winner overall, who's stuck to the rules, done a great story, and etc. etc. But no matter what happens at that point, we want you to take that story and go sell it. Find a publisher, find a magazine, find a website that pays for short stories. And usually for short stories, you'll get anywhere from 2 cents a word up to about 10 cents a word on the pro end. Just look for somewhere. And one thing I would say as well, it's a bit early to be saying this when we're talking about selling the story, but even if this is the first short story you've ever written, if you are really happy with it, you think it's great, and give it a couple more editing rounds after you're done, etc. But don't think that you have to start from the bottom. You don't have to then take it to a website that only pays you 1 cent or half a cent or something silly. Swing big, just go for it. Try the big boys first, and see what happens, and work your way down from there. You don't have to earn stripes in that regard. And we would certainly love to hear it if you do sell the story.
Yeah, I know that's been one of my most exciting things from the past as a member of the community, is seeing other people share where they went with their stories and who got published with stories. And yes, it's very, very exciting. All right. So very, very quickly, just remember that you have to have at least 2,000 words in your story. Most of us will be aiming for short stories, and that's completely fine. 4,000 words is about the max for a short story before you start tripping a little bit closer into novella territory. Sweet spot, though, is 3,500 words. So any genre is welcome as long as you follow the rules. And the first line was word for word, the Wi Fi password changed itself every 3 minutes. Don't overthink the twists in the challenge, you guys. Just put this in here exactly as it is. You can add quotation marks to the beginning and end to make it a quote. You cannot change it into a question. You cannot change this to add other words or names or things like that, but you can add quotation marks to make it a quote, and you cannot change the tense. But anything else on the opening line, Gareth?
No, that's about it. It's as simple as it seems. Use it verbatim, but you may turn it into dialogue if you like. If you're turning it into dialogue, I would say you're not allowed to change the punctuation within it. To make it like what do you call them? Like Captain Kirk dialogue with like
Oh,
the
yeah,
Wi-Fi
yeah.
password changed, like full stops. You're not allowed to do that.
No,
Stays the way it is, but you can make it a line of dialogue.
nope. It has to have a period at the end. No exclamation marks, no question marks. It needs to read just like the statement it is. So just copy and paste. There's your first line. All right. Twist number one. The story must include a major character who never speaks aloud. We got a lot of questions about this week, and I think it's important to clarify that we didn't say they can't communicate. They can communicate sign language, text messaging, writing out notes, whatever form of communication they'd like, except for speaking aloud. So if you are asking, well, what if my character has this or does that? The question really just boils down to, again, not overthinking it. Do they make a sound with their mouth out loud? If so, they can't do it. If they don't, you're good. Gareth, anything on that one? And then I'm going to let you unveil
No,
the
again,
next
that's as simple as it sounds. Again, don't overthink it. It's essentially this character does not verbally communicate. And there you go. Full stop. One thing that would bolt onto that was a question, and I just want to reiterate that. What if the character is a non-human, like a dog or a cat? And it's like, okay, well, or if you made up an alien that communicates in some way. If the communication is verbal, like that's their language, a dog barking or whining or a cat meowing, etc., is their method of verbal communication. So no, you would not be allowed to do that. But they can be silent. I kind of said it last week. The dog that raises an eyebrow, and that's kind of all they do, or move into positions that indicate things and drive character action, then yes, absolutely, that is 100% on point. To build on that as well, though, there was the concept of what is a major character. You can't just throw some character in willy-nilly that doesn't really do anything and say that has fulfilled the premise of the twist, because it doesn't. A major character is going to be somebody whose presence or actions greatly influences the progression of the plot and hopefully its resolution as well. The way I put this and the way I like to put this is if you lifted that character, if you just kind of alien abducted them right out of that story, would the events still play out the way they did without that character's involvement? If the answer to that is yes, then they aren't a major character. They have not been impactful enough. So that would not fulfill the needs of the twist. So keep that in mind.
Yeah. And since last week's video was specifically devoted to this twist, if you're coming in today and have not watched that, please go watch that video. And then if you still have questions, because we answer a lot there about little exceptions and characters, if you still have questions after watching that replay, there's a little help bubble in the bottom right corner of AutoCrit that you can click and ask us, and the support team will get that to Gareth and to me. All right, twist number two. I feel like we should have a drum roll. We're shifting out of content with twist number two, and Gareth, take it away.
So this is a form twist. I thought since we had a content twist, we would bolster it with a form twist, something to get you working with sentences and twisting those around. Some of you may not do this anyway, which would be interesting. But the idea for this one was kind of to give myself a bit of a boot in the crotch. It's the story must contain 0 sentences that begin with a conjunction. And you can find, conjunction lists basically anywhere if you need to go hunting for them. It's words like for and what is it? The fanboy list: for and, nor, but, or, yet, so, either, just, although, all of these kind of words that are conjunctions. You're not allowed to start a sentence, any sentence throughout this story, with one of those words. This one becomes a little painful for me because I'm a big fan of fragmented sentences. I love them, and I'll often start them, kind of start stop thoughts, beginning sentences with conjunctions to break them up for rhythm. So this, we're gonna cut that off and just say, no, you're not allowed to do that. Does it make sense? I see in the comments, no fanboys then.
So I think this makes perfect sense. We have a way to make this easier for you guys. Typically, we have a sentence starter report that is limited to AutoCrit Pro members. But as we told you on the first week of the challenge, everything that we are requiring you to use for the challenge, we have unlocked for you as long as you have registered officially for the challenge. So if you have not registered, I'm going to put the link back up on the chat for you guys if I can find it. I may just drop it again. Here it is. If you register, it will unlock a special version of AutoCrit where you have access to this report for free during the challenge. We are going to pull it up and show you an example of what a sentence starter is, what a sentence that begins with a conjunction is, and give you an idea of how you could change it. So let me go ahead and pull up one of my short stories, not for the challenge because I don't want to compete with you guys. I'm nervous like that. All right, here we go. Gareth, can you see my screen okay?
I can, yeah.
Okay. Let me get rid of this, and I'm going to make it bigger for everybody. That way you can see a little better, and maybe zoom in just a bit. Okay. So here is my short story. If you go to the word choice tab in AutoCrit and click sentence starters, this is going to open a report for you, and it will list off any and all sentence starters that you have. As you can see, only 1% of my story begins with a sentence that has an initial conjunction. So I'm going to click on that conjunction, and it will take me straight to that spot in the story. Now, we're not asking for any math today, people. We know we're writers here first. We want 0. There should be nothing on this list. You should have no initial conjunctions. So in this case, Gareth, any suggestion about how I might shift this around from then someone pounded on the door outside?
Personally, I'd probably just kill the then, because the meaning is still there. Closer, closer. Someone pounded on the door outside. It's like, all right, I get it. It happened.
Yay! We're done. And now I'm going to click rerun report. This is going to rerun the report, and now I have 0, and I can submit my story for the challenge for as far as this point is concerned. So, but you might have several, and it might take you a little bit of time to work through them. We understand that. Not all of these are as easy as just chunking the first conjunction, right? Sometimes you're going to have sentence starters that require a slight rewording. But Gareth, you said something earlier about characters, and I think that applies here too, with your suggestion for mine. If you can take it off and it not change the sentence, you just cut it, right?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, there's always in other circumstances than this challenge. For example, you might want an additional word in there to add a bit of rhythm or whatever it is you're doing with that sentence. That's absolutely fine if you wanted the then there for that reason. But otherwise, it's like why have it? And also, it's kind of like, and I saw somebody mention in the comments there, the word suddenly is, you probably know, is one of my pet peeves. With that, it's like closer, closer, and then suddenly someone pounded on the door outside. It's like the word suddenly doesn't help there. It's actually delaying the image in my brain, the sound of that door being knocked. So the word is not actually helping things appear more sudden. It's causing a roadblock to that. So I just love to get rid of that word and just throw the image on the page. It's like, get that in my head as soon as you can. So yeah, but yeah, the unlocking of the report here, because I did see a mention, do we have like an official word list or whatever? We thought this would be an easier way to kind of get that word list in your hands in an active manner, which is why we've unlocked the report. It's not usually available. It's generally only available if you're a pro member, but we've unlocked it for everybody in the challenge. So you can just jump in, throw your story in, and run it, and it'll help you pinpoint these conjunctions as you go through.
Yeah, and you do have to submit your story. We're going to talk about submission instructions in about a week and a half, I believe, 2 weeks. But we're going to talk about submission instructions a little bit closer to submission time. We just want you to focus on writing. So your story will need to be in AutoCrit anyway in order to upload it. So you might as well take advantage of the free tool while you have it. If you have written your story outside of AutoCrit, here is how you would bring it in. First, you can either upload your book or in this case, short story, into AutoCrit using an unformatted, image-free docx, .rtf, or .txt file by clicking Upload File and then dragging and dropping the file into here. Or you can copy and paste from an image-free, unformatted file into a blank document, whichever you would prefer to do. Once you do that, your story will be on the screen like you see here with mine. There are some other free reports if you want to play around with them in the system, but the challenge membership one is again going to be under word choice sentence starters. That's the report that you're looking at for the challenge. And then we will come back and let you guys know how to submit as we get a little closer. Gareth, anything else you want to wrap up before I take this off my screen?
No, I think and I hope it's fairly straightforward. Just a very easy way, again, to handle this when making sure you're adhering to that twist. I do have to say, Chris, you get 100% my approval for trying to give me an aneurysm with that sentence. But what if we really want to use them and we need them so we can write? I love it.
The hammer will come down hard if we find one in there. We don't expect you guys, though, to go hang out on Google for hours and hours, right? That's why we unlock the report. Just go down the report. That is what we're going to do. We're not going to go through Google and get a huge list and read all of your first sentence words and make sure that none of them are conjunctions either. We're just going to run the report. And as long as it's 0, we know that we can then move on to read your actual story's content. So this is one of those simple things. Again, we've said this for the other 2 twists. Don't overthink it. Just hit the button, run the report, make sure there's nothing on it, and you're golden.
And seeing there's questions from Scott. I see just then used a lot by high-profile novelists. Would this be allowed, especially in place of suddenly, which is clearly not a conjunction? Yeah, suddenly isn't. But just then, I think, would be fine. I don't think just is a conjunction, considered a conjunction. Then would be, but nestled in front of that, the just takes care. It's not at the start of the sentence. You're not starting the sentence with it. So that's fine. Which is probably one to be clear of here. When it says sentences that begin with a conjunction, means it's the first word in the sentence. Not that like it's within the first 3 or 5 or whatever. First word.
Yeah. If someone was mentioning not knowing how to get their piece in, if you have trouble getting your piece into AutoCrit at all, again, there's that little help bubble in the bottom right corner of our site. You can click it. The support team will be happy to walk you through how to get your story into AutoCrit. Of course, you can copy and paste it in, but a docx file is just a Microsoft Word file, essentially. And then an RTF file is a rich text format, and TXT is a text-only plain text file, typically. So any of those 3 can be uploaded as long as you don't have pictures in it and as long as you don't have formatting in it, which you shouldn't need for this challenge anyway.
Yeah, I think usually when copying it in, if there's something wrong, it'll tend to look a little wacky anyway, so you kind of know.
Yeah. Making sure we got all our questions. I'm going to bring the timeline up again. So here we are on the 18th. We are doing the final twist today, and then you'll get your final line, which has to be like the first sentence. It's got to be used word for word, right, Gareth? The last sentence.
Yes, the last sentence will be exactly the same. It will have to be used word for word. I don't mean exactly the same as the first sentence, although somebody did mention that as we were beginning the stream. It's like, is the last sentence going to be the same as the first? I don't think we've ever done that, but I'm going to put it into the bag of tricks. Now, we'll see if it happens in the future. No, it won't be the same first line, but you will have to use it verbatim.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then on the 28th, we will open submissions. Now, on the 28th, I will come on and walk through exactly how to submit your file when submissions open. So don't worry, I'm not going to leave you hanging, not knowing what you are doing, but we do want you to just devote your time to prepping your file. If you get done early after that final twist or final line next week, then edit your file, make it smooth, make it polished. Don't stress about the submission until it is submission day. And then we will walk you through that. But it's a pretty straightforward process. Just a few clicks and your story is sent. And then Gareth and I can look at it, and the rest of the judging team can look at it.
It'll be a fun time. It always is. And certainly, I think in the meantime as well, if there's anything that gets you tripped up or stuck on anything, always feel free to reach out to the team. I suppose Catherine can say more about that, but we're here to help.
Yeah, absolutely. We want you to be successful. And we've seen so many members go on to use these stories for great things. We know that you are going to be able to do that. So we believe in you. We believe in your story. We can't wait to read them all. No, the
Oh, I see. Mohammed mentioning, is it allowed to write Y-phi? Yes, that's the only caveat I would give on punctuation there, because depending on where you look, some places would write it as just Wi-Fi, like Wi-Fi without a dash. Others will make it a proper noun, like Y-phi for the acronym. So yeah, if you want to change it to that, that's absolutely fine.
yep. Um, all right. So Gareth, any parting thoughts this week for our wrap up of twist number 2?
Get writing, get editing, whatever spot you're on, keep going, get the story done.
Absolutely. All right, everybody. Take care. Good luck. We believe in you.
See you next week.
Bye, everyone.